Hello everyone, welcome to Lukman IS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 2nd April 2021. So let us see which are the important articles in today's The Hindu newspaper. Yes, these are the important articles. Let us first take overview of these mains related and prelims related articles, and then we will have detailed analysis of all these articles. First, overseeing oversights. So on editorial page number 6, this article is having context. Yesterday we discussed about that the rate cuts, interest rate cuts on small savings schemes by the government, the decision is now reversed today, and the article is discussing about that particular issue. Okay, so how these small saving schemes are having impact on government's ability to finance fiscal deficit and the impact on banking sector. Okay, so from GS3 paper economy and GS2 paper polity part also, so we are going to understand here. Spatial no longer. So here the article from international relations perspective, it is talking about the changes made by China in electoral system of Hong Kong, specially administered region. That particular territory is specially having special provisions. So now more and more control is being taken by China over Hong Kong. So the context is recent changes in electoral system of Hong Kong. So we are going to understand some nitty-gritties involved here about how that Hong Kong territory is administered by China here and the changes made here. Next, younger people at risk during second wave. So the experts of health sector, they have warned that the younger people are very much at risk of getting contracted in this second wave of COVID-19 pandemic. So we can understand as a follow-up to COVID-19 what experts have to say about that. Next, for prelims related specifically the articles, Biden allows H1B visa ban to expire. Yes, last year in June 2020, the Trump administration had banned all these visas, H1B visas especially, very significant for India when we talk about the IT industry, skilled workers. Now the Biden administration, new presidential administration, has allowed that ban to expire. So this is good news, but for our examination from international relations perspective also, India-US relations, along with that, what are these different visas issued by US government? So they can ask question in prelims examination. Next, BIMSTEC meet skirts Myanmar violence. So here the ministerial level meeting of BIMSTEC countries had happened, and that was chaired by Sri Lanka. Here it did not mention or had concern about Myanmar violence recent that is going on. Okay, so what is important for our examination is this BIMSTEC regional grouping. What is this grouping? Okay, basics about that. And lastly, Dadasaheb Phalke award for Rajinikanth. So what is this Dadasaheb Phalke award? Basics about that award is important from miscellaneous or even culture perspective. Cinema is part of India's art and culture aspect, so we can take input accordingly here. Now let us go into details of all these articles. First, overseeing oversights. So why the word oversight is used? Because after taking the decision by the government, here it has been reversed. What kind of decision? Regarding the interest rate cuts on small savings schemes. Okay, so many economic sectors or experts, they have said that it came as a very shocking decision, and a very next day our finance minister has tweeted that the orders issued by oversight shall be withdrawn. Now this particular word oversight, so who was that oversight? What constituted that oversight? Whether it was bureaucracy or civil servants, they had taken decision, or political executives, that is minister. So from this we can understand that before such assembly elections, the bureaucracy will not be allowed to take such kind of decisions here. Surely it is the political domain of political executives or ministers to take such policy decisions, and this is also should have been the decision of the government itself or the political executives or minister itself. This is how the article is analyzing the intention behind this decision. Now we can understand that small saving schemes are very much important for common man, or we can say middle income man or families, because most of these families are having or depositing money for in these saving schemes. Also the vulnerable sections, like we can say the women girl child, for them we have Sukanya Samruddhi scheme, or the old age people and social security schemes for them. So this is how we have to understand. Just before assembly elections, such kind of decision was taken, and it could have been backfired, and that's why the government has now taken back this decision. So surely it is political agenda of the government. And next we have to understand some economic aspects here. So suppose there was a rate cut, what would have happened is there will be more and more disincentive for people to invest in small savings schemes, and that would have reduced the amount of funds in that NSF, National Small Savings Fund. Now this was established in 1999 by the government, and this fund is under Public Account of India. Yesterday we have discussed about this, all small savings schemes and all, right? So the funds collected in this particular fund will be less, and surely the government will have less amount to finance its fiscal deficit, as the government borrows the money from this particular fund to finance its fiscal deficit. So for that matter, surely the borrowing plan of central government would have been or we can say it could have impacted the borrowing plan of central government. Along with that, the central bank, that is RBI, is continuously asking in last 1 or 2 years central government to reduce the rates of these small saving schemes. Surely why they are asking or pressurizing the government to reduce this, here we have to understand the concept or the reason. What happens is all commercial banks also has the deposit schemes or deposit account schemes or recurring deposits. So when the banks are having the less rates as compared to these small saving schemes of the government, the people are incentivized to opt for these small saving schemes as compared to these deposits, recurring deposits, fixed deposits of the banks. And because of that, the money available with the banks will be very less. This is how we have to understand the parity between these deposit or savings accounts with the banks and the small savings schemes. The interest parity should be there. This is how the RBI is advocating. Okay. However, the interest rates on these small savings surely is political decisions of the central government. The kind of let's say impact it has on the people, it is huge. Okay. So this is one aspect, and lastly we can say that any deviation or reversal from routine administrative decisions should attract the election commission scrutiny. Why? Because there is model code of conduct going on within different states, and that's why the central government cannot take initiatives for new schemes, new projects. In the similar manner, there should not be changes in day-to-day administrative decisions, and that should be also covered under MCC or Model Code of Conduct, and election commission should take cognizance of such kind of decisions taken by central government. This is how the analysis that we have to done here about the decisions, recent decisions taken on interest rate cuts on small savings schemes of the government. Now what kind of question that can be asked here? Yes, explain the significance of small savings schemes of the government. In what way the changes in interest rates of these schemes impacts government, banks and beneficiaries of these schemes. 3 stakeholders, how it impacts. So from this input you can take here that what is the significance. Yesterday we talked about the significance. 1, social safety network. So this is for social safety, old age people, girl children in the society, or even we can say that those people want to save for their old age, or we can say that for these kind of social safety is very important for the people. And second is that the fund mobilization or resource mobilization for central government is done through this particular small savings schemes. Right. So this is the significance. You can say that in what way the interest rate changes impacts three different stakeholders. Yes, government, just now we talked about that its ability to finance fiscal deficit will be affected. Next, banks, there will not be parity. When there is no parity on the interest rates among the banks deposit scheme and here the post office deposits of small savings scheme, there will be problem. Beneficiaries, more the interest rate, more will be the good for small savings schemes or the beneficiaries, less interest, less incentives to invest in the small savings schemes. This is how you have to answer this question. Okay? Yes. Moving on, next, spatial no longer. So the recent changes done by Chinese government in Hong Kong's electoral system. So here we have to understand that the Hong Kong is specially administered region or territory of China, and it was we can say shifted from UK to China in 1997. So then this is completely now administered by China. Now we have to understand that such changes that have been done by recent changes done by China or Chinese government in electoral system of Hong Kong, it further strengthens the control of China over the administration of Hong Kong. Okay. So what are these changes? First thing, reduce the share of directly elected representatives in its legislative council. It is called as LECCO, Legislative Council. Okay. So earlier there were 35 out of total 70 members of this legislative councils were directly elected and remaining 35 were nominated by the Communist Party of China. Okay, so this is how the earlier situation was there. The present, after changes, we have to understand that it is now only reduced to 20 and remaining 70. Why? Because the total number of members also increased to 90. So 20 out of 90 are directly elected. So here the size of legislature is also expanded to 90 now. So proportionately the directly elected members, earlier there were 50%, now it is less than 30%. It is less than 30%. This is how we have to understand that all the direct election, or we can say democratic aspect, is being removed consequently. The next change that is made here is establishment of candidate eligibility review committee. Now this is for checking the eligibility of the candidate, whether he or she is patriotic enough. This is going to be checked by this committee. So the concern of the Chinese government is that the representatives should be patriotic enough to rule or be in the government of Hong Kong. This is how this establishment of candidate eligibility review committee is going to further dent the democracy in Hong Kong. Next, district councillors will have no place either in legislative council or in election committee. So earlier, when there was pro-democracy protest and there were district councillors elections were conducted, there was a majority of the people got elected in district as councillors and they had representation in this legislative council. Now the changes, after these changes, it is understood that now district councillors will not have place in legislative council as well as election committee. So after these changes, it is concluded now that the Chinese hold over Hong Kong is further strengthened. Okay. So these new changes, along with that national security law that was brought in 2019 to curb the pro-democracy protest in Hong Kong that were going on in 2018 and 19. So Beijing's grip on Hong Kong is tighter than ever. Okay, so yes, there will not be direct question, but indirectly you have to understand the Hong Kong issue that is going on and how China is being, we can say, not trying to not have democracy in its specially administered Hong Kong territory. Okay, yes. So IR perspective, GS2 paper. Next, younger people at risk during second wave. Yes, here the experts have warned that younger people are more vulnerable as compared to first wave. In first wave we have seen the old age people were more vulnerable as compared to younger people. Now the younger people are also getting infected at faster rate in this second wave of COVID-19 pandemic. Along with that, some super spreading events are happening because of opening of schools, offices, colleges, and because of that even the public transport systems like metros. So super spreading events are happening because of these settings. Along with that, schools and colleges are functioning in most states, resulting in higher risk of transmission in closed settings. At the same time, experts are of the view that in rural and tribal areas, there is increasing rate of infection because of malnutrition leading to decreased immunity, not following safety norms and lack of proper quarantine facilities. These factors have further aggravated the rate of infection in rural and tribal areas. Okay, so you need to know what is going on in second wave of COVID-19 pandemic in the country. So as a follow-up to COVID-19, we can take input here. Next, specifically for prelims related articles, Biden allows H1B visa ban to expire. Now the context here is that in June 2020, the Trump administration had banned the H1B visas, and this ban is now allowed to expire on March 31 of this year, and the new decisions will be further taken by new administration, presidential administration in US. Now what is important for us is these different types of visas issued by US Citizenship and Immigration Services. Okay, so what are these? So there can be question of like match the following different types of visas and what kind of people they are, we can say, seeking this kind of visas. So first is H1B visa, where Indian professionals, skilled workers largely from IT industries. So the beneficiaries of H1B visas, almost 70% of beneficiaries are from India, and that too IT industry, skilled workers. Okay, second is L visas. L visas are for executives, managers, specialized workers who are transferred within companies. Suppose there is one parent company is there in one country and it is having different branches, subsidiary companies, different countries. So there is one in one US. So the intra-company transfers of these executives, managers, the L visa is issued to them. Then H2B visa is for seasonal workers, not permanent workers throughout year. Next, J visas, this is unique because this is given to those exchange programs, student exchange programs, cultural exchange programs. Okay, so even trainees, teachers, camp counselors, so summer work, travel program, all these are J visa, J type of visas, J1, J2, right? And lastly, H4 visas. H4 visa is largely related to H1B visas because H4 visas are those people dependent on the we can say accompanying workers on H1B visa. So like those skilled workers and we can say their spouses, their children, they will be having this H4 visa. So you need to know about them because in last 1 year they have been in news because of that ban also, and then now the ban is being expired. Okay, so yes, we can solve this question. Just now I told you match the following type of question can be asked. Yes, first H1B visa for skilled workers, this is correct. Second, H2B visa, yes, for seasonal workers, this is also correct. Now J1 visa for family members dependent on skilled workers, no, this is incorrect. This is for H4 visa. And what is J1 visa or J type of visa is for those having cultural exchange or student exchange program. So that's why answer should be 1 and 2. Correctly match they are asking. Okay. Next, BIMSTEC meets skirts Myanmar violence. So recent 17th ministerial meeting of BIMSTEC countries, Bay of Bengal initiative for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. This was chaired by Sri Lanka and it was held virtually. Okay, now what is important for us is that yes, in last 1 year it was also in news because BIMSTEC Secretariat has finalized BIMSTEC charter also. So after so many years of its establishment, the charter is being finalized. Okay, so basics about BIMSTEC, you can see here the members of BIMSTEC grouping. Earlier BIMSTEC was BISTEC. It was established in 1997 by 4 countries. Which are these 4 countries? India, Bangladesh, Thailand and Sri Lanka. That's why BISTEC. And later on it was joined by other 3 countries like Myanmar, Nepal and Bhutan, and then it was called as BIMSTEC. Okay. So first summit of BIMSTEC, Bangkok 2004, after joining of these countries, and its secretariat is located in Bangladesh. Uniqueness here of some regional groupings like SAARC is important, BIMSTEC is important, BBIN grouping is also important. So SAARC countries are 8 South Asian countries, but this BIMSTEC grouping is also having some Southeast Asian countries and South Asian countries like Myanmar and Thailand is Southeast Asian countries. They are not included in SAARC grouping. So remaining 5 countries are common to SAARC: Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka. In addition to these, there are 3 countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan and Maldives in SAARC grouping, and yes, SAARC is having the secretariat at Kathmandu, Nepal. So this is how comparative study is also important of these overlapping regional groupings. Okay, yes. Next, Dadasaheb Phalke Award for Rajnikant. Now, yes, one can say that it is political decision because surely the Tamil Nadu is undergoing general elections for its state assembly. However, what is important for us is Dadasaheb Phalke Award. Yes, this is the highest award in cinema sector. It was first presented in 1969. So Dadasaheb Phalke is considered as father of Indian cinema. He had directed first feature film Harishchandra, Raja Harishchandra or Harishchandra Factory, right? So this particular movie was directed by Dadasaheb Phalke. That's why to honor his name, this particular award was instituted by central government. This is presented annually at National Film Awards ceremony. Along with that, it is selected by a committee consisting of eminent personalities from Indian film industry. So here we can say government representation is not there. Directly the committee is appointed by the government which has noted personalities from film industry. Outstanding contribution to growth and development of Indian cinema. Fine. So award comprises of Swarna Kamal, Golden Lotus, medallion, a shawl and cash prize of 10 lakh rupees. Okay. So this is how we have to take input. First, 1969, highest award in cinema. Dada Saheb Phalke Award. Yes, it was awarded last in 2018 to Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. In 2018, Amitabh Bachchan. Okay, so some trivial information you should be aware about from miscellaneous part, art and culture also. Okay, yes, these were important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो इसको लाइक कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए हम अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ, एंड साथ ही सब्सक्राइब कीजिए लुकमान IAS के चैनल को फॉर फर्दर इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन एडिटोरियल डिस्कशन क्लासेस और ED classes wherein in-depth analysis of mains related issues and articles is done by Ansari sir and team. You can contact Lukman IAS. Thank you.